So welcome to Ask a Director, where we gather site directors from the National Writing Project and we answer a question that has popped up. And our question this Ask a Director session is, how do you go about making decisions at your site? And that's our base question. How do you go about making decisions? And that could be decisions about what your site chooses to do or about running your site, as well as decisions about programming or choices on workshops or continuity work. So our question at the center of our Ask a Director discussion today is, how do you go about making decisions? And directors, as you first answer, would you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us your site? And then what do you think? How do you go about answering or making decisions? So Ellen Shelton, do you want to start us off?
Sure. Hi, Ellen Shelton. I'm the director at the University of Mississippi Writing Project. I will first of all say that there are some decisions that the director just simply has to make. That is just a reality, definitive. You're also the one over the budget. I'm the one who has to negotiate the space and have conversations with the institution itself. So I know a lot of sites use a TC council. We got away from that. So when we have programming discussions a couple of times a year, even during COVID, I have leadership teams for like our institute, for our professional development, the people who do kind of the most work, and it's not exclusive. But a couple of times a year, we also do a all y'all come invitation to site work. And but I do send very specific invitations to people. Like, I want you here, you have a voice I need. So just to make sure that some people actually show up. If we were face-to-face, I'd offer food. And we do kind of big planning sessions. But we've just kind of gotten on Zoom and all y'all bring coffee and let's have a conversation. But what does this mean? What does this look like? And then we kind of all bring it back. We get the ideas, and then a few of us who are really like Jennifer Ringo and Angie Griffin, and then the Institute leadership, the core leadership teams for each individual program or project, ultimately end up taking that information.
So I just want to say, I love, Ellen, the idea of like, all y'all come, just like this. And that invitation juxtaposed to that invitation of, we want you here because we need your voice for this. Like, I love how both of those do two different things.
Yeah, the TC council became very exclusive feeling for us, and people saying, well, how do I get on this council or not? And I want to have a voice. And sometimes people have voices that don't get heard a lot, but they have some really good ideas. And you kind of miss them because they're not so outspoken. So we just sort of said, all y'all come. And there are folks who I never thought would be interested in site work who end up showing up. And then, some people will, the direct invitation, but you kind of have to have both to make sure that people do feel invited. But I'm always amazed at who shows up. So it's kind of fun.
I really love that. So I'm just going to just recap, because I heard actually three things that you did. All y'all come, specific invitations, and then your core team that you gather together. And then I guess there was ones that you just, as a director, you just make. So there's kind of four things that were happening. Okay, nice. Darshana, were you going to add?
Hey everyone, Darshana Katwala from the Long Island Writing Project. So I was going to share a couple of ideas in terms of how we make decisions in terms of planning the year or possible workshops or a book study. One of the things we do at the beginning of any school year is ask teachers and interested educators to fill out a membership form. And in that membership form, they fill out their particulars, because sometimes they may have an institution change, a school change, a different grade. So it gives us an updated way of keeping in touch. And part of that form involves filling out two questions. One is, what kind of workshops would you like to see, or book study, or is there a specific topic that you really would like to kind of tackle or address? And another question as a subset is this idea, are you interested in leading a session, or do you have a partner? Because sometimes I find that educators are a little bit shy about sharing that they're already doing this work. They're already kind of well read in an XYZ topic that they may be interested in. Another thing that we also do is something kind of informal and organic. Anytime we'll have a workshop or writing group or any kind of an activity that the site is leading, we ask members to share, what are the books that you're reading? Is there something that you're interested in? And we use that as sort of like informal, I want to say, way of gauging folks' interest, but also kind of help us, hey, I am really interested in Taylor Mali. And that happened when we were at that NWP studio initial launch, right? So guess what? My co-director, Heidi Atlas, reached out to Taylor Mali, and now we have him for September 18th at LIWP. So it's like, whoa. So it's something, it may sound kind of so simple and basic, but it has really worked for our site. So I just wanted to share that.
Well, hello, everybody. I am Tanya Perry, and I'm the director for Red Mountain Writing Project located in Birmingham, Alabama. Can you guys hear me? You can?
So good.
Good. It's raining really hard here, so, let me know if I rain and technology. Woo! So just let me know if I somehow bleep out. Well, so I think I don't have much to add, because I think both of these wonderful site directors have already taken all of my thunder. So let me just say that, just to add to what they're saying, I think we have probably a two-tier approach, which is when people come together asking for what it is that interests them, what's their passion, what is it that makes them tick, what is it that you want to change about the world, and how does that relate to what we do? So asking that question to everybody, no matter how they come in. And so this summer we have a two-tier approach. We had we didn't have an official summer institute. We had money from the state that we started a state writing leaders program. And I'm stumbling because, the idea that they're writing leaders, but they're not quite RMWP, because we want to take them through some more training, but the state wanted writing leaders immediately. So we'll probably take them through the process. But the thing is that now they're a part of us, at least in our circle. So everybody's asked, what's your passion? What is it? And the state identified the schools that they wanted us to work with, right? So it wasn't open invitation, it was open invitation just for certain schools. And then the second approach is that I do have a pyramid that is probably reversed in some way. I'm at the bottom. I just ask the questions up. So I just say, I ask, people who are interested in leading things, what do you think about this? Can you go back to the circle you have of people who share this passion, and what do they think about this? So I just ask a question, and I ask the group of people that I know are already interested, and then they go back and ask their circle of people who work with them or have shown some interest in the project in that, what do you think about this? And then it comes back down to me, because I consider them up, comes back down to me, what is it that they're interested in? So an example of that would be work on differentiated instruction, right? What are you guys interested in? What is it that you're going to need? What is it that the project can do? Well, my kids have been on distant learning and virtual learning all this time. My kids are all over the board. When I was face to face, I thought they were all over the board, but my kids are all over the board now. We need some work on differentiated instruction. We have got to figure that out. So then I worked to try to figure that out, and then we worked to build it together. But that started as a question, people who were interested, who went back out to other people, who brought it back to the project to make a decision about one of the directions that we would take. I hope that's clear. I'm depending on my wonderful colleagues to tell me if that was convoluted or not.
No, it wasn't. But in fact, I'm just going to pull something out there that I heard, that one of the things that I heard you do so well is actually making decisions about it from two places. from what you hear going on in the world, your own experiences, like, that you could see, like, this is a conversation we need to have. So let's have a study about that, right? And that that's a way to go about thinking about programming. What kinds of things are you noticing in teaching or writing and leadership, and that people might want to talk about? So you throw it out as a question and see. But I also heard an interesting thing too, that whole idea of what the state says or what districts around you want. And if they like say or want or need something, like that's a place to think about programming. Like that's a conversation that state wants, then the writing project is a perfect place to do that. And that is a way to get ideas and make decisions around programming. So I think that makes a lot of sense. I love it. All right, we have just a teeny bit of time left on our Ask a Director. Susanna?
Sure. Hi, I'm Susanna Benko. I'm from the Indiana Writing Project at Ball State University. And there are just two things that I would add that are at maybe different levels of thinking. One is I really love to remind myself about what it means to be a site of the National Writing Project, and to go back to, like, I really appreciate the 6 ways you know something is a writing project site, which is work that we've seen float around, thinking about teachers as writers, teachers as leaders, teachers as professionals, teachers as teachers, and thinking about how different programming that we're doing feeds those different parts of knowing that we're a writing project site. So I make a little matrix for myself of those areas. And then as we do things, I try to plug them into the matrix just to see, like, are we doing enough to feed teachers as writers? That's an area that I don't often do enough. And so it just helps kind of keep me in check about, like, this is who we are as a national network. Are we doing the things to help sustain that? So that's thing one. Thing two is that at my site, at least, I think, and I think this may be true in lots of places, there's never a shortage of ideas, but where we do fall short is sometimes with people to carry out ideas. And so I try to look for opportunities that will put the least amount of work on my TCs, where I can provide opportunities for them to just come and have their teacher soul nourished, and they don't have to do a darn thing. The best way that I've found to do that so far is to connect to things already happening at the university. For instance, our English department is pretty good about getting pretty awesome visiting writers to come. And so I've started to try to piggyback on some of those visiting writer series by doing a book club with the teachers. And then I've been working with our creative writing faculty to say, hey, does anybody want to lead a quick 45-minute workshop for some super engaged, super awesome teachers who would just eat up everything you say? And most of the time my colleagues are like, yeah, that sounds fun. I love to work with teachers. And often they do it out of the goodness of their hearts. I don't often have a lot, or for a cup of coffee. I mean, I don't have a lot of money to pay them, but then I'm able to provide this nice little package for my TCs that is usually rich and inviting. And but this year we're doing Ashley Ford. Somebody's daughter is her memoir, and she's coming to campus, and we're doing a whole event where we've managed to secure her for an hour just for our teachers. And so I guess, like, the takeaway is what's happening around you that you can piggyback off of, what's happening at your university or in your community, that it wouldn't take a whole lot more work to squeeze an event in there for your teachers. And because that, if you can save your teacher's energy and save your energy, then it just, for me, has given me space to give more in other areas.
Dang, these were good. I don't know. I just took like pages of notes from our Ask a Director discussion. So thank you, everyone. And we'll be back with another question.